This is something I've been wondering about recently. It seems to me that the vast majority of people working in voice tech have decided, perhaps it was a conscious decision or unconscious, that the best thing we can do is copy humans. That makes sense in some scenarios. Perhaps in health or legal, you want to have a persona that people talk to and they feel they can trust it, they feel comfortable with it, they know what they're dealing with. Is that suitable for all scenarios? I'm not sure. The other huge issue here, or huge question is, we are not copying humans accurately or convincingly yet. Maybe you think so, I don't. I think we're doing a wonderful job. We're making incredible things, but I'm not convinced that I'm talking to a human. So, do you have the scarecrow without a brain? Do you have Frankenstein? How human is your design? Is it C-3PO? Is it the bot I can't remember the name of from Ex Machina? Why do we have this aim that they have to be so human? Are we even close to that? I'm not so sure. Are we too close sometimes when we enter the uncanny valley? Is that good? Is it helping anyone? Maybe not. It often seems that the voices we're talking to are judged on how human they sound, but it's not really enough. I never finished a voiceover session and congratulated the voice talent by saying, "Well done, you sound human. Job done." It's never about that. What we're focusing on is how they presented the material and whether they communicated the message well. That's the important bit. Whether we achieved sounding human is not even a consideration. So I feel that the aim to make our designs as human as possible should actually be secondary to how well it communicates and drives the user towards their intended goal, or perhaps not drives, helps them towards it. And communication, of course, is a craft. It takes practice. You need to understand what you're saying to say it best. Exactly as I've just shown you with text-to-speech, it doesn't understand what it's saying, so it doesn't always say it in the best way. The voice you use, it needs to represent the persona you've designed. It will need to act a little sometimes. It needs to inform, educate, guide, help, empathize, and do all sorts of things that people naturally do with their voices. Perhaps humans aren't the best inspiration for a digital voice-controlled system. Maybe we're stuck in a rut trying to copy something that we'll never quite manage to get right. Maybe we don't need our bots to pretend to be humans. I'll give you an example. Imagine a brand who has their mascot and it's a cute little robot. And so they make a skill and they want that little cute robot to be the persona that the users talk to. So if it's a cute little robot, like imagine C-3PO but miniaturized, why does that have to sound like a human? C-3PO is a human voice, but it's been affected to sound as if it's coming out of some kind of science fiction stereo system. It's a flanger, by the way. That's the effect they've used. Why do we want those voices to sound human? What if this cute little robot sounds like this? You still understand me? I'm still talking in English, and I'm talking as a human. The only thing that changed was the way my voice sounds. I'm now a robot. It's kind of cute, isn't it? You like it, don't you? Of course, this wouldn't work for every brand, and that's great. Voices can be designed for different brands, for different purposes. Moving on. Why don't we go for efficiency? We can take inspiration from robots who aren't humanoid, or even from the animal world. Here's an example of an animal giving a warning. That one short sound It's much more efficient than saying, hey, watch out for that hazard. If you just hear it, it's like, hey, something's happening. Another example, kind of a cliche now, but that means most people understand it. The wastebasket. You hear that? I'm sure you've heard it on your computer operating system. That one little wastebasket sound is much more efficient than saying, affirmative, I put the items from your shopping basket into the trash. They're examples of ear cons. Ear cons are sounds that signify an action happening. Of course, to use an ear con effectively, the user needs to understand it. That's a design challenge. Of course, it's completely possible. It's also possible to train the user on what the ear con means, and it doesn't have to be painful. The first few times they hear the ear con, it can be combined with a verbal utterance. So they hear the verbal utterance saying, you put the items in the wastebasket or the trash can, and then you hear the wastebasket. And then after a few times, you just hear the wastebasket and you know what it means. If they don't know what it means, they can just say, hey, what did that sound mean? And they're reminded.